What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the show, and today we're doing something a little bit different and should be a good time. Have you ever been watching a movie, usually an action movie, and in that movie you're seeing some motorcycle scenes? You get all excited because you're a motorcycle rider, and then you realize they did it completely wrong? What you're experiencing right there is called cognitive dissonance, because you are seeing something that you know is wrong and you can no longer suspend disbelief. Totally common, and today you're gonna experience a whole bunch of it. That is right, today we are taking a look at a whole bunch of movie scenes from years ago, recent movies, old movies. Some of this stuff is real and totally legit. Other stuff is total movie magic and can't happen in the real world. And it should be just a ton of fun to laugh at some silly movies. Now, if you like this video and you would like to support the channel, please take a look at the Patreon down in the description below. It's the best way for you to support this channel. I can guarantee you 100% this video is going to be content struck. It's no big deal, but the video is not going to make any money. So if you would like to support the channel, click that link down in the description below. A little bit goes a long way to help make this all happen. And on that note, let's dive on in. Our first one is a scene from Yes Man, a movie that I have not watched, but apparently there's a hyperstrata in it, or hypermotard, like I'm very familiar with. Okay, this blows my mind right here. Ducati is extremely protective of their image, the sound of their motorcycles. How in the did they greenlight this scene with a Ducati with an inline 4 sound? I hate that. It drives me nuts.
No, Carl, this is not the same. You really have to be careful. Okay, these things have a lot of... Holy shit! Torque.
Yeah, he just hit a balance point wheelie and didn't loop the thing. What's really gonna happen in this scene, if anybody is getting on a bike for the first time with that much power, they're just gonna loop it. You're not gonna be doing the balance point thing, but it's a comedy, so. They had the V-twin sound there. It was buried underneath. They actually had the V-twin sound. So what makes me think happened here is that they had actual mic audio from the scene, and that bled through, and then they were just layering in the inline 4 soundtrack. Just go with the Ducati sound. It's so much cooler. Nope. Nope, you're just gonna go ass over tea kettle. Actually, you're not gonna go ass over tea kettle like that. You're just gonna low side. That's the sort of thing that everybody's so afraid of when they're getting on their front brake, is they're afraid of tucking the front wheel. They're not afraid of flipping over the top. You know, you see guys like Jack Miller do giant endos when they come in to stop after a race in MotoGP. It's actually really hard to do, and it's a very inefficient way of stopping the motorcycle. And again, most likely what happens, you just lose the front and you slide out. And then just going right back to the wheelie. Yeah, sure, if you're a stunt rider, but... So, in terms of reality for the Yes Man scene, I'm gonna give it like a 0. I'm stunned Ducati even let this out the door with the wrong soundtrack. Now we have to talk about Torque. From what I understand, Torque was supposed to be our Fast and Furious, but it was an absolute disaster and nobody watched it. So it's probably for the best. I've seen clips from this. I expect it to be the worst the early 2000s has to offer. There's nothing to talk about there. That's just pure fantasy. Oh my god, that was bad. That was so bad. Why?
Going somewhere? You want some of this, bitch? Oh, I thought you never asked.
Just shoot each other. It's so much easier. You don't have to do motorcycle kung fu. I don't know why. Something in this scene makes me want a Mountain Dew. Oh my god. So in the establishing shot that they showed earlier, we saw how long this little runway is that these two ladies are fighting in. They've probably gone at this point couple city blocks. Why don't you just get off the motorcycles and fight? Why does it have to be on the motorcycles? They don't have cars fighting each other in the Fast and Furious. It's cars racing, and then big sweaty dudes get out and beat the shit out of each other. That's what people like about the Fast and Furious movies. Was she grabbing the wrong handlebar? Kind of looked like she was on the wrong handlebar. That's the clutch, that's not the throttle. She grabbed the wrong one. Still grabbed the wrong one. I'm just gonna cut it there. Oh my god, that was bad. That was really, really bad. The rest of this has like some Harley chasing the Y2K, and it's all CGI, and it looks like the trailer for some like PS1 game. It's a disaster piece. All right, so this one is a ton of fun. This is actually something they filmed entirely on set. It's all totally legit, and it was done way back in the day. This is The Great Escape from 1963. Probably one of the most famous motorcycle movie scenes ever. All right, so this is one of the things that makes this scene so cool, is that Steve McQueen actually was riding the motorcycle, and he was doing this set of stunts on a motorcycle that wasn't meant to be off-road. This was the Bonneville, I believe he was doing this on, and you can see him through the whole scene struggling to keep the motorcycle underneath him, and that's why scramblers exist nowadays, is stuff like this. This is why we have scramblers, because people were taking these crappy motorcycles off-road and just doing silly stuff with them. Right here, right here. Look at how he, oh man, he just comes right sliding into that. It's so good. This is what happens when you actually have somebody who knows what they're doing on a motorcycle filming. Oh, it makes the scene so good. and he's trying to keep the bike underneath him the whole time, and it's sliding around. God, it's awesome. And they actually did that jump. It wasn't Steve McQueen, it was his buddy. I forget his name, I'll put it on screen. It wasn't Steve McQueen who did that jump, but they did jump that motorcycle. And you can see the like front end completely bounces back up because it just wasn't built to do that. That's so cool. This is why other motorcycles in movies drive me nuts, because they can just do this stuff. I know nowadays people are so worried about safety, but stunt people are really, really good. And it's part of the reason why some of the Mission Impossible scenes we're gonna look at later are so just awesome. They're so good. So this is No Time to Die, one of the more recent Bonds. I think this was the last one with Daniel Craig. I don't remember. He's done so many of them at this point. And he used to say he wasn't going to do another one, so he's a big liar. Liar, man. You're great in Knives Out, though, by the way. It's Detective Foghorn Leghorn. But this scene, I think, has just an insane jump off of... It basically just goes, like, straight up. I've only seen this scene once, I think, in movie theaters. Nothing wrong with that. You'll notice in a lot of movies like Bourne, the Bourne Ultimatum has a scene where a guy basically does a trials jump off of a curb. They just get some really amazing riders to come do this stuff, and that was just solid jump stuff. They're on the Triumph XE, the Scrambler XE with the long suspension travel, so it totally makes sense. This is basically the bike that Steve McQueen wishes he was jumping in the other movie, in Great Escape that we just looked at. If he was on this, he would have been way happier. Okay, let's see that one more time. I just want to see where they might have done any movie magic. I'm 99% sure they did that for real. These modern movies where they actually get motorcycles involved, they may have the wrong engine sound, they don't hear, but they may have the wrong engine sound, but they're actually doing a lot of these stunts. That was really, really cool. And in reality, was that jump that high? Probably not. You know, he's going up about 20 feet and then coming down only about 10 feet. I would reckon that motorcycle totally had no trouble doing that whatsoever. They may have modified that particular bike versus the one that we saw earlier in the scene, but totally doable. Aimbot over on Discord sent us the Terminator 2 scene. I knew this was gonna come up. There are some flaws with this whole scene. They did do a lot of it, but they definitely didn't do some of it. So I'm gonna skip most of the stuff on the street and we're gonna get right into the canal stuff, because the canal stuff is where it gets really wild. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about here is Arnie shooting the lock off and then blowing through the gate. So if you slam into anything with the front of your motorcycle that is stopped, you're not just going to go right through it. I don't care whether you're on a Fat Boy, I don't care whether you're on a road glide, you are going to upset that front tire, because the first thing that's going to hit whatever stationary object you're looking at, it's the front tire. That is definitely a recipe for disaster. You gotta love the John Wayne style reload on this old pump action shotgun here, the lever action shotgun. Totally doable on a Harley like that. If you've never ridden one, they're super, super stable, and he's using the right hand for all of this. Well, the right hand. His right hand is on the throttle, left hand on the gun. Makes sense. They didn't film this, like he's not actually riding. He's probably on a rack or something that's holding the bike upright just out of scene, but this is totally doable. Going through the fence again. Nope. So getting bumped by this truck, would you just get nudged forward? No. It would tip the bike over and you'd go right underneath. John Connor would go from being the savior of the resistance to a smear on the ground, along with whatever little pit bike he's riding. And now we're coming up on very much not Arnie doing the famous scene from, or the famous stunt from this scene, which is the big drop. You gotta love how much not Arnie that guy is not Arnie. He's 10 out of 10 not Arnie. I have no idea what sound that is. That is not what that V-twin sounds like, I promise you. I love how it's supposed to have bounced and then gone up. So here's what most likely ended up happening with this, because if you were to do this on this motorcycle, it would have shattered in 1,000, it would have exploded. The forks would have blown out into his face. The shock would be in his anus. His back would be in pieces. I bet you that they actually lowered him down. I doubt they actually threw this bike out there. I'm sure there was like another pyrotechnic somewhere in the bike, throw the sparks. I'm almost positive that there's some graphics effects trickery here, like some clone stamping to get rid of wires or whatever. But try this on a fat boy, see how it goes. All right, Magic Toaster here has some fun ones from a movie I have not seen because I did not want to do this to myself. I did not subject myself to Snake Eyes G.I. Joe Origins. Apparently there's a motorcycle chase scene in here. Let's see how bad this is.
Let's go.
What are they riding? They look kind of like Super Veloces, but they sound like electric bikes. Must be some sort of like electric bike thingamajig. Nope. Nope. I'm not even gonna touch that one. Chopping your way through the front end of a motorcycle. Maybe if you had a lightsaber, but not with the samurai sword.
Did you see that? Snake fighting on our side.
That whole riding backwards thing, unless this thing's got cruise control, no. It might be because it's a modern movie, but by being on the back of the bike, you're not seeing where you're going, and any imperceptible change in your weight, unless you're like a gymnast and you can balance on a tightrope, not happening. So it looks like this is just the same scene, just with a little bit more in front of it. I will appreciate the shots of them actually weaving through traffic. They did that that's all practical. They weren't going very fast. They were probably doing about 20 to 30 miles an hour, and they had the cars going slower to make the bikes look faster, but they actually did it. It happens to look a lot slower, and the guy's way exaggerating his body position. You could theoretically speed up the track if you filmed at a higher frame rate, but it would still look fake. So I'm just glad they did it and they just owned it. It makes it look better. And then we're back to the beginning of that stupid fight scene. this was all fantasy, make-believe, except for that one shot where they had the bike going through the cars. That's a nice touch. Didn't look super fast, but it looked good, and that's the point. Last but not least, I promised it at the beginning, Rogue Nation's motorcycle chase scene. This is one of my favorite scenes on a motorcycle ever. Just because I know that Timothy Cruise actually did this himself, because he is an operating Thetan, he believes that he is immortal and that he is paid enough to his wonderful space god that he exists beyond a mortal's shell. He just does all his own stunts, and he's an absolute maniac. But his movies are so good, so I keep watching them. And Tom, I'm joking here if you're watching this, this is awesome. Keep doing what you do, dude. That's terrible CGI. However, they did do this on a big stretch of highway, and they do have some cars in these shots. So when the bikes are going between cars, that side angle right here, yeah, right here, the cars are actually there, and the cars are actually moving, and Tom Cruise is actually on the bike. So cool. So I do want to go back here and just, where is it? Yeah, all right, so this is the shot where the lady, I forget her name, Ilsa, I think, is grabbing the clutch on an S1000. Nah, you just use a quick shifter. Nice touch, though. Oh, dude, it would be so scary being at this kind of lean in the desert on just a public highway with no gear on. I don't know how they got this shot. I don't know if he was on a rig or something, or if he was going this fast with no helmet. I would be stunned if he was actually going that fast with no helmet, because he's in like full MotoGP form right there. He's probably at 50 degrees of lean, something like that. That's like 60. Oh my God, that's terrifying. Now they're in a different country. I do know that they filmed this in Morocco. I think they filmed this scene in Morocco. Those hills don't exist. I think they're supposed to be in like Dubai or Qatar or something like that. Those hills don't exist there. Oh, they actually filmed this. This is why this scene is so good. They actually filmed this, and they're on this 2-lane mountain road with nothing but a teensy tiny wall on the side. If they f***ed up just one bit, somebody is over the side and down a mountain ravine. I know not every movie can do this, but this is awesome. Oof, that would hurt. So, another reason why you don't want to get on a motorcycle like this and try to put your knee down without a knee puck is you will have no knees left. I'm not sure if they actually had him touch his knee down there, but that would really hurt. He would go right through his jeans that he was wearing and right through to the bone under his skin. There's nothing there. He would be in pain. Okay, so the bump causing a high side, is that something that happens? Yes, watch GP. You will see guys nudge each other through turns and stuff, and sometimes it does unsettle the bike enough that they go ass over tea kettle. Did they actually film with this guy going flying? It's entirely likely. The problem is a high side is so unpredictable that it would be really hard to do it safely. The bike exploding, does that happen? Yes, 100%. Google Maverick Vinales, I think it was Red Bull Ring crash. Maverick's Red Bull Ring crash, his GP bike, he lost the front brakes. They completely faded on him. He had to jump off at like 200 miles an hour, and then the bike slammed into the air fence, and it didn't burst into flames this spectacularly, but because there's probably like a fuel pod on there or whatever, but bikes do explode when they crash like that. And that's where Tom Cruise died. That would be a savage, savage low side in no gear. That's rough. I'm sure that they had him tumbling through the dirt, but did he actually come off the motorcycle like that? Mm-mm. Wear a helmet, put some gear on, and hopefully you enjoyed this. If you enjoyed this video, let me know down below. It's totally silly, and it may not even go up on YouTube because YouTube might be like, no, demonetized, bad. You can't show it to your audience, even though it's completely fair use. So let me know if you enjoyed this, and if you are looking to support the channel, click that link down in the description below. Check out the Patreon, and I'll catch you guys later. I'm gonna be out of town for a little while. I'm taking a much needed vacation, first time in a few years. So I'll catch you guys on the other side. See you in the next one. Bye.